This might be a bad episode for you because your clients, if they see this, they're going to say, well, we can't even control a cat. I'm not going.
Well, if they actually know cats, they would know that there's no controlling cats. They control you. Like, this is apparently my cat's house and I just live here.
Yeah, that's the way it usually works.
They might ask you to bring the cat so we can stare at them accusingly.
Right. Well, I think that I read it on a t-shirt, something where it said, dogs have owners and cats have staff.
Well, it's true.
True, right? You have cats, Boris, so you know, right? Cats have staff.
Yeah.
So I think that that's pretty much how it goes. And I think everybody who understands animals, they understand that. And if they don't, then they were obviously wounded as a child.
And they need a beating.
And that's where I come in. That's it. They show up at my door. I had no pet as a child. Please beat me.
It all comes around.
Yeah, always.
So do you have any like clients that you have since you started?
Yes.
You do.
Yep, I do. I have at least 3 that I've had since I've started. One I don't get to see as often, but he checks in all the time. It's wonderful. I mean, a lot of them have been very concerned about me, which is so nice. You know, I get messages. One of them just, you know, sent me money because he felt bad I couldn't work, which was very nice. I mean, there are a lot of DOMs. I will say this. There's a lot of pro DOMs, and I find nothing wrong with this, to each their own. But there are a lot of pro DOMs that are sitting there going like, I can't work. You're a client of mine. You should be helping me, or can you help me? And sometimes they do, and I think it's very nice. I have not asked that of any of my clients. That's just not something I would do. I feel like if you're going to pay me for something, you should get the service. Like, you know, like, but a lot of my clients have been wonderful, and they've given me extra. They've bought me gifts. I've gotten a lot of gifts. I had a client send me a box of masks.
That's cool.
Just to keep safe, you know, like, so some of them have been very, very thoughtful, and it's very fortunate, I think, to have that. You know,
Yeah.
not everyone has that kind of consistent clientele, or even clients who care.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's fortunate, and I'm very grateful for it, because it also lets me know that what I do for them is valued and means something.
Yeah.
You know, so it's because it's very give and take. Like, I can't do what I do without them.
There's another one.
That's another one.
There's another one.
You know, that looks like mine, only smaller.
Oh, this one is almost 3, and she's the size of a kitten, so we call it baby cat.
Baby cat. Oh.
Well, that's not her name, but I call her that because she looks like a kitten, but she's not.
Really? I wouldn't. Yeah, I
Say
wish
hello.
I could get you mine, but he doesn't even call when his name is called. He doesn't. He's like, I know that's my name, but I don't care. Oh, look how cute.
Yeah, she's very cute. She's been terrorized by the newcomer. I
Oh.
see that in his mind.
What's her name?
Her name is Gilda, but I call her Baby Cat.
Now, is that like Gilda named for the Rita Hayworth movie, or Gilda for Gilda Radner? Or neither?
Well, neither, although I know both films. I mean, both, well, in this case, film, right? But it was just, we went with G's. So we have Gidget, Gilda. We used to have Gilbert. He passed away in January. Then we got Gibson, who's another orange monster. And that's about it, I think. Losing track of how many animals are in the house.
I have D's, Dante and Duncan. Duncan is the dog. Because when he runs, he's like, da-dunk, da-dunk, da-dunk. He's just very goofy.
So those are double D's then.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of D's that run through this house, so try to keep it consistent. I think, you know, my worst fear was when my child was much younger, and she's built just like my husband. She's very tall, skinny, like, you know, and she said to me once, Mom, when I get older, I want to have boobs like you. And I went, oh my God, my dad's, you know, your dad's going to have to buy them for you. And it turns out I was wrong. She's still built like her father, very tall and thin, but has my boobs. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill myself. Like, that's just not, you know, you want her to be beautiful and everything, but then at the same time, you don't. You know? Like, do you see that? Like, as a teacher, I would imagine you see that. Like,
well, what would be the fear as a parent? Like, what would that be?
The
Bad
fear is
thing.
that, some of the attention you get for that when you're in high school is very negative.
Oh, I see.
It's very negative, or it's objectifying. And I think, they're too young to figure out that, oh, it's objectifying and it's wrong. And let me tell you why, versus just internalizing it and then having tremendous anxiety.
Yeah. And you don't
Yeah,
want
but you
them
can.
to take advantage of it either and not develop their other talents.
Exactly. I mean, it's like you want to, look, use what you have, but at the same time, know that you don't have to fall back on it.
Yeah.
And there's more to you than that, which is not something that our generation even, got. Like, I grew up with you can never be too thin. And if you don't look good, you nothing good will happen to you. As a girl, how you looked was the main focus. If it wasn't, we would not have brought cans of hairspray to school.
Well, that was the 80s when.
Well, but that's my point. The 80s was a very, look, there was nothing else to entertain people. So it was everything was visual. Everything was how you look, I mean, and it's not that it's not like that now. It is. It's just different, because now you can find you can branch out. I don't know. It just seems it's more accessible than when we were younger. It was like, it was either you look like Madonna or you don't.
Yeah.
Like that's you either fit into the mold or you don't. Where I feel like now, if you don't fit into that mold, you can create your own mold. And you'll find your people, because you can get online and be like, hey, all the people with pink hair, find me. I mean, I'm simplifying it, but that's the truth. When we were in the 80s, when we went to school, it was like, your people were the people at your lunch table, and that was that.
Yeah, it was all about proximity back then.
Right, exactly. So if you couldn't find your people in the two places you were every day, you had to wait till college for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's very different. The world is bigger. And
that's why you can have clients online that can
exactly
join from all over the place.
Well, exactly. And it's wonderful, because there are times when I get clients who say, well, are you into this? Are you into this? And I'm like, no, that's not really my wheelhouse, or I'm not, that's not my thing. I've had clients who said, well, can I teach you? Like, would you be interested in learning that? Because I need a Domme who can do that, but, and they didn't need me to be perfect with it already. They were willing to help me learn on the way, which is nice. There's not many jobs that you get that option.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is proximity too, because I always ask them, well, why don't you go to New York, or why don't you go here? I'm sure there's a Domme that does exactly that. And they're like, no, this is closer. This is better. This is whatever. So they were willing to, wait till I could learn what they needed me to in order to stay closer to home, or just not travel to New York.
Well, yeah, it's also the time. How much time do you have? Maybe they have to sneak out and only have an hour.
Maybe it's just during their lunch hour. Maybe it's just, I have a client, oh my God, he's one of my favorites, where he'll say, okay, sometime this week, I want an appointment, right? That's what he'll do. And I have to send him a text being like, okay, be here in 30 minutes. Like, that's part of the demand. Like, that's part of what he wants, right? And he's got to get his act together and be there in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to
picture of yourself right now.
Huh?
And send me a picture of yourself right now.
Exactly. Like, there are some clients who do like that. So if I was far away, that they couldn't do that.
I thought you were going to reply as sup.
Sup. No, but you know what? Oh, this is so great. One of my clients made an appointment for Cinco de Mayo next week. And I was like, oh God, he's been wanting to serve, like, he's been wanting to do something extra special. So, like, I've sent a message like, I have no blender and I have no ice, but I would like margaritas on Tuesday. And so he's, going to show up and make margaritas for Cinco de Mayo, because I can't go to a restaurant. I can't go celebrate it like I normally would. So, done.
You bring a hand mixer.
Which is remarkably what what one of the first vibrators looked like.
I have to change my job. I'm like, hey, come to my house, paint my house.
Well, look, I exchange, like I do barter occasionally, and I have someone who cleans my house in exchange for sessions. So my house is like, dying right now because he can't come in and clean.
Do you beat
Building
them
up
while they're
dust.
vacuuming?
No, I beat him afterwards to say thank you.
I think it'd be funny if you do it at the same time.
Well, I do get to say, you missed a spot, or that's not good enough, or please clean that hard, please do better there, but I get to make them clean things that I wouldn't clean, like toilets. I don't like to scrub things. I'll clean, I neaten, and I declutter, and I'll put things away. I like things in their place. I'm not, messy, but I don't want to scrub my windowsills and the track for my slider doors and things like that. I make them do that.
Yeah. Make them.
Yeah. And those kinds of things, like to get a service into your home to do that, that's costly, but I'm costly too. So that to me is more of an even exchange.
Hey, that works.
Yeah. I don't know that my husband would let me do it otherwise. Like, he likes our house clean too, but he doesn't want to pay for a service. So this way everybody wins. And then I don't have to be like, oh, I wasted money on a house cleaner today. Cause he'd be like, well, why don't you just do it? And I'm always like, did you forget you married a Jewish girl? We didn't get that gene.
Yeah, but it's a good exchange. That's a pretty good deal.
I think so. I used to exchange with a personal trainer. That was great.
Oh yeah.
Because some things you can equate the value. But a lot of times I do get somebody who and this goes back to like how to talk to a cougar. But I get that like, oh, I'd do anything for you. Really? What can you do? Well, I don't know. What do you need me to do? Oh, so I have to think of it for you. Like, okay. Like they put all the work on me, or they'll be like, what do you need done? And I'll be like, well, I need my house clean. And they'll be like, well, I don't do that. I'm like, well, then how are you going to help me? Can you detail a car? Like, what are you good for?
Yeah.
And my favorite one was, well, I could just look really good on your arm. And I'd be like, no, diamonds look really good on my arm. Like, a good tennis bracelet, something. But it's really, it's funny sometimes how they think that like, well, my favorite is that they always think, and this goes back to the cougar thing, they always think that I should be grateful that they're paying attention to me. And then I always ask the question, well, what is it about me that had you write to me in the first place? And they'll be like, oh, well, you're hot. I'll be like, oh, so you're the only one who thought that. You're the only 24-year-old on Fetlife who saw my picture and thought that. Okay. Like that, it's those kinds of things. Like they have to remember, like, if they're thinking it, somebody else is too.
Yeah, and most of them at that age have nothing to offer anyway.
No, but every once in a while, I will come across one who I will be like, no, mistress, I want to serve. I'll clean for you. I'll do this for you. And they actually come through. But that's somebody who's actually dedicated. That's somebody who's committed. They actually do want the service I offer, and they're willing to exchange something for it. A lot of times it's just like, no, I just want to get laid by a hot chick. Like, I just want to get laid by the the older woman, or like what. But they lose sight of like, there has to be something in it for me too.
I wonder how much, if you get drop off between the first and second sessions of the cougar workshop, be like, I don't know if I want to work for a cougar. I could see a lot of them doing that.
Oh, I could too. But you know what? Sometimes it's not even working for, and sometimes you just got to be nice to her. Sometimes you just got to have a real conversation with her. Because a lot of times, and I'll tell you what it is for me. I really enjoy some of the younger guys. Like, I like being around them. I like being in their space because you know what? They're not bitter. They still think women are wonderful. Women haven't really hurt or harmed them yet. So they don't have this, just like young girls have the Cinderella complex, so do boys. And they, and they still think like, oh, the older woman, she's going to teach me things. She's going to show me stuff. I'm going to learn stuff. And you know what? If you pay attention, you will, because you're going to learn how to, be nice on a date, or treat a woman nicely, or, use the proper fork when you eat. Little things like that.
Grammar.
Huh?
Grammar.
Grammar police. Are you the grammar police? You are, aren't you? A little bit. Well, it's funny because somebody the other day, they're like, can I call you ma'am? I'm like, you can if you spell it correctly. Like ma'am is not M-A-M. I'm sorry. There's no need to shorten it. There's only one more letter in there.
They have to Google it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just things like that. Like, so I like being around that space, that like everything is still positive. Everything is still a future. And they are a little lighter and a little more, it's less work for me to be around them, because when I'm around men my own age, and I have no reason that I dislike that. But I think if I was going to like date again or anything, do I really want to hear someone else bitch about their wife? Because I feel compelled to defend her.
Bars, are we going to lose her?
So I'd rather.
Yeah, we have a less than a minute again. So when we
Okay.
cut off, I'll send another one so we can wrap it up, I guess.
Okay. But you understand what I mean. Like, like when you're around your friends now, you don't talk about the same things that you used to talk about.
No, most of them are bitching about their wives or ex-wives.
Right. And I don't want to hear that when I'm around that. I'd rather hear someday and one day and all the world is. Well, as I was explaining to my father when he was like, I don't get it. Why don't they close the liquor stores? I was like, because, alcoholics are mean.
Well, also, if you have a serious withdrawals, that's...
you'll end up in the hospital, and that's what they wanted to avoid.
Well, you can die.
Yeah. Which is, again, why weed should be legal, because nobody ever died.
Well, it's going there. It's just a matter of time.
I know, right? Especially now. And my friend runs a dispensary in Pennsylvania, and they're open. They don't close either, because they're considered essential. I love that. Weed is essential. I've been arguing that for years. That makes perfect sense to me.
The idiot orange cat is climbing the TV, which is not a good idea.
Well, the cat seems to think it's okay.
If he tumbles down with the TV, I'm bringing him back to the shelter.
I think the best is when my cat starts climbing something and halfway up he goes, I'm too big for this. And
he can't get down.
Get down.
I can't believe your cat can climb anything.
Huh?
I can't believe it can climb anything.
I can't believe he can run as fast as he can or jump as high as he can, but still, because he's young. He's only 8, like he can still do stuff, but mostly he just stares at things.
He's practicing telekinesis.
Oh yeah, the dog will come running at him full speed, and the cat just does one of these like, and like the dog is like immediately cowered. It's very funny. It's just really funny, because the dog doesn't listen to anybody but the cat.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, no, he really does not listen to anyone. He's a chocolate lab. He's a big goofy dog. Like he's awesome, but he's a big goofy dog. And that's another thing I find when younger guys approach me and stuff, they act like I must not own pets and don't understand pets. And I'm like, pets were entertainment before the internet, right? Like before there were cat videos, people still had cats. You didn't invent this. But
yeah, we had Yahtzee.
Yes, Boggle. And we knew how to play Monopoly.
There you go.
Right? You play Monopoly with someone now, they have no idea the value of a hotel on Baltic Avenue. They just don't get it.
So they should do a whole class on board games.
Yeah, that'll be my next one. Board games during, sexy board games during the pandemic. That actually would be kind of cool. That would be a fun one. I actually sell a lot of them on my website. I sell a whole bunch of games. Oh, if only on, but they have one. It's modeled after Game of Thrones, and it's called The Lord of Cannabis.
Lord of Cannabis.
Yeah, and it's basically modeled after Game of Thrones. I should get that for you.
And what's the
I don't know.
forget
It's
the
a
name
very,
of the.
very ornate board. It looks like an old Dungeons and Dragons board.
But
Like
is the dwarf called a roach?
I don't know. I didn't look at. I can send you a picture, but I saw that and I was like, Lords of Cannabis. Oh my God, that would be the best.
That's something a South Park should do as an episode.
Yeah. Well, there is a game called What the Fuck and then What the Fuck 2. Like there's a bunch of them. Yeah, there's and then there's just some funny like, you know, games that you could play with couples or in a group if we ever get them again.
I have a friend that just got Cards Against Kardashians.
That's hysterical. I bought that for my sister, and the other night with my daughter, we played Cards Against Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah, we had to remove some cards to play with her.
Oh.
There were a few things that I didn't realize that R2-D2 couldn't do. So, you know, we removed those. But other than that, if you could play it not with a 15-year-old, it's a really fun game.
Yeah, you don't want to end up on To Catch a Predator.
Right. Well, there's some cards where I'm like, it's not that it's such a bad thing to say. I just don't want her to ask me what it means.
Yeah.
So you're like, you know, and the other things that would come across, they'd be like, I don't want her to ask Mom, how do you know that? Because then I might have to explain further about what I do for a living, and I'm not ready to do that.
Or if you really want to make it fun, you get your daughter and grandma.
Well, grandma is scared to death to come over right now. So, you know, it's that. And it, like, I haven't, that's the weirdest part about this is that it's not that not seeing other people. I haven't seen my own parents since like January.
Yeah, it's a little, I think it's a little crazy. But.
It like, we did Passover on Zoom.
To Zoom over.
And not for nothing, but Passover is as far as all the prayers and stuff go, that's a boring holiday to begin with. I didn't need to do it on video with, you know, all these people. Like I could have skipped on that and just gone right for the matzah. But I mean, it just was you know, it's a very surreal kind of experience when you are like, I think for me, I didn't realize how many people I actually see in a day until you're not seeing anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's why this is like, it can't last. People are just gonna go nuts. Like you're not meant to.
They're already talking about that. I mean, I don't know if you guys watch live TV at all, but I watch live TV, and they have these PSAs for if you're having anxiety, if you're feeling disconnected, if you're, you know, go out and do this, call this number. Like, I've never seen stuff like that on live television before. And it's because of a result. Like I've never seen a PSA teaching me how to wash my hands before, but now I see it. You know, like that was something I learned fairly early on. But apparently there are people who didn't know that and they need a PSA, and great that they're doing it. But Did you ever think that there'd come a point where we'd be watching TV and somebody would come on to tell you how to wash your hands?
Yeah, that's just for idiots.
I only watched for 19 seconds earlier today.
Oh, I'm going to report you.
Don't.
I'm calling someone right now. I'm tweeting it. I'm going to tweet it.
I promise I'll watch for 21 after I get off.
Yeah, try to make up for it.
Awesome. I don't know. There's a lot of those alternative to the happy birthday songs. Have you seen like people telling you sing this song instead or do this one? And I'm like, dude, like I just wash my hands until the soap is gone.
Yeah.
Right? Like.
Well, if you need help in how to wash your hands and you're older than 3, you got problems.
Right. Then, you know, I don't know. Oh, well, that's like when my clients come to see me, like, I'm always like, you should shower before you come here. You know, like this is a very small space. I can smell everything.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't have any protective barriers like clothing. So, you know, maybe help me out. You know, like, oh, yeah, it's incredible. That's another thing I'd like to go over during that cougar class. I'm going to write that one down. Remind me, you know, shower before you meet them.
Oh, manscaping.
Don't look like you just rolled out of bed and put a hat on and go and think we're going to swoon. Like it's not going to happen.
Yeah, where are you going to?
All 40-year-olds have outgrown grunge. What?
Where do you come down on the on manscaping? How much?
Okay, so I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to say two things to you. And usually when I say this about manscaping, men get it right away, and I don't have to say anything else. The first thing is that when you have less hair, it makes your junk look bigger. It does. That's how it works. And second is women don't like to floss their teeth when they go down on you.
So you can show them Edward Scissorhands as an intro to.
Yeah. So I mean, here's my thing. Like, if you don't want to, if you don't want a full, bald, then at least trim it. Trim it, because it only benefits you.
Well,
and women
that's
do
true
appreciate it.
for cougars, but if they're looking for a silver cougar,
she appreciates it too.
No, but back then it was just the full-on bush.
Yeah, but the 70s are over, Boris. Let it go.
That's what I'm talking about. Silver cougars, not like regular cougars.
Yeah, no,
Saber-toothed cougars.
Here's what I'm going to say to you, Boris. If she's that old and still getting it, she's taking care of business down there.
Well, I don't know. It's your clientele. I'm just saying, there could be a saber-toothed cougar out there. And
totally got that. It's like, yeah, she's still active. She's hip. You got it.
Well, you can't say she's hip. She might need a replacement.
Oh, Boris. Really showing your age there that you know that one. But this is the truth. Women, as far as manscaping goes, we like it. It's cleaner, it's neater, it's less for us to manage.
Unless you find someone who has a fetish for exploration of jungles, I guess.
Yes, there are exceptions. There are some people who love, very hairy bodies, very hairy everything. But, I just don't. And hair traps scent and odor as well. And yeah, I mean, look, whenever I teach the classes, whenever I discuss this, it always comes up, especially if it's a co-ed class. And usually the minute I say it makes everything look bigger, that's all I have to say. Usually the conversation can end right there. And, that's something that all men, I think, could get behind.
And you should get on your website, get some trimmers. You get some extra sales for that.
Oh, my God. This was the best thing I ever heard recently. A very good friend of mine recently lost some weight. And he was a guy that, he never really cared about his weight much. He's very tall. So, he always looked in shape or whatever. But, he was inspired somehow to lose weight. And I said, hey, what did it? What made you lose weight? And he goes, I couldn't see my dick. Apparently that's the rule. When you can't see it, it's time to go on diet.
Okay, I think he was just a little more than a little bit overweight.
It might have been, but my point is that because he's so tall, you can't always tell when he gains or loses right away. So, but it was just very funny how, without even thinking, I'm like, what made you lose weight? He's like, I couldn't see my dick. I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense to me. I totally get that logic.
That's some motivation.
Huh?
That's motivation.
Yeah, it's motivation. Absolutely.
Yeah, but then micropenis guys have to go anorexic.
Oh. I know a lot about that. I get a lot of those. I've seen many. I have definitely seen my fair share where I've gone, oh, I'm sorry.
It's that common, or is just common within the clients?
It's more common than you think.
But
it's more common than you think. But in my line of work,
that's what I mean. Is it
among the clientele, it's very common.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because there's a whole, with a lot of what I do, there's a lot of humiliation involved. There's a lot of it's kind of like, well, this is my lot in life. How do I make it work for me? Well, I can have someone beat me for it. I can have someone ridicule me for it or humiliate me for it, or, and in some ways it's arousing for them because they make their, what's the word I'm looking for? They make their, lack of work for them. Mm-hmm. So for women who are very femdom oriented or women who want to cuckold in a man, I mean, you find a lot of men who are cuckolds tend to have micro penises because that's part of it. Oh, I can't satisfy her. I can satisfy her in every area except this, and so they will allow her to have lovers, or they participate, or they sit in the corner, or they watch, or whatever. And it's very arousing and very motivating for them. And then it works for the relationship because then everything works.
Yeah. Getting
You
a
know, because
substitute. Yep.
then it's like, oh, I can't satisfy her, but that guy can. And after he's done, I get like, there's just a whole, there's so many facets of it. And women who can really enjoy that, that could be very empowering for men who have that condition. It changes their whole outlook. You know, it changes how they be about it, which is wonderful. You know, I think it's wonderful. So I try to make them feel better for their shortcomings by, I don't know, like just showing what else they can do. Like that. I mean, because really, I mean, it's just the interesting thing is, and this is the part that people don't realize, is that women come in different sizes too, and there's always a lock for every key. So yeah, maybe the micro penis doesn't work for her, but it does work for another woman. Maybe, it does work. So that's why men come in different sizes, because so do women. And women actually don't feel 3 inches past the vaginal canal anyway. We have no nerve endings. So we don't actually feel sensation. It's more like we know it's there, so therefore we feel it. But, you ask any woman who's ever given birth and she will tell you, yeah, no, it's a good thing that we can't feel everything because those kids kick. And if we had nerve endings all the way through, you'd have one child. I mean, anytime I ask women that, they're like, oh yeah, no, I would definitely have only one then. So, it is, even those with micropenis have, their value and their, things that they can do instead, learn
you see a different kind of world, I guess, than most of us.
Well, yeah, but I'm supposed to. I'm trained to.
Sure.
It's kind of like when you see people write things down and your grammar kicks in. You're trained to do that. We count on you for that. You count on me to elevate the micropenis because he's more likely to pick up the check. So you want him to feel good.
Whatever works, somebody's got to do it.
Absolutely. And, before we wrap things up and we get going, but I wanted to say about the classes that I'm going to be doing, because, I think in some of our last podcasts, my sub Bex, who was tied to the cross, because he's non-binary, this class isn't just for young boys. Like, it's for young women who want to pick up older women. It's for non-binary, like it's for everybody. And even though, a 50-year-old man isn't going to pick up a traditional cougar, well, maybe he's into 70-year-old women. So he's still got to learn a different way to speak. So it is for everyone. I wanted to make sure that it's not just limited to 20-year-old boys. Because it really is for everyone, because if you're looking to pick up an older woman, well, that's the constant.
Where do you sign up? Where's your
Well, you're going to go to mischiefmatters.com. So it's www.mischiefmatters.com. I think it's behind me. I think you can see.
There it is.
Yep.
So if you go there, by tomorrow, the actual link to the web event will be there. So it's $5 you pay in advance, and then the day of you get the link, and
And do you have to sign up for 3 sessions?
No, you can do one at a time. You can just do the one you're interested, because for a lot of them, it just may be like, hey, I don't want to keep her. I just want to meet her. And for some of them, it'd be like, I've already met her. How do I get rid of her? I can help you with that too.
Yeah, no, that's $5 is almost free. I mean, why did you choose to do it so low?
Several reasons. People may not have money right now. So, what's my overhead?
Yeah,
it's really what's over my head.
My cat keeps pushing my computer, so
so what's over your head is a cat. Well, what's over mine? I'm just saying, like, I've never done it before. It's more of a conversation class. Like, I'm just going to be talking. There's no technique that I have to show. It's not like when I teach my blowjob class. that one would be more if I was going to put that on mine.
Will there be a Q&A?
Yes. Yes. And that's, and one of the things that I've learned while taking other people's classes is that, yes, it's during a pandemic and you're not supposed to have anyone near you, but you should have somebody else monitor the questions because you'll miss stuff. Some of the questions you don't need. Let somebody, they could write it down and hand you so that you don't miss an important question, but also, there is a disclaimer when you join this class. It's only $5. So if you're an asshole, you're going to be kicked right out of it and you won't get a refund. But I'm not doing anything, I'm not serving anything if I have to teach the class and then monitor. So Bex will be my sub is going to monitor the questions and the people that are involved in it so that it runs more seamlessly and that I won't miss stuff, but then the people who are being rude and whatever are just, removed. And that way it doesn't annoy everyone else. And those who really want to get some value out of it can. So that's something that I've learned while taking other people's classes during this, is that there is a value to having somebody there who could be like, oh, that question's not going to get answered. or like, oh, that person's going to say bye-bye right now. Like the first person to send a dick pic. Bye-bye.
You have to recommend The Graduate, of course.
I have to what?
The movie, The Graduate.
The Graduate, of course. Mrs. Robinson. I mean, it's really like the cornerstone of where the fantasy began, I think, for a lot of men. Like, I don't think they knew there was other men that liked that until movies like that. Until
yeah. And you can,
like,
I'm sure you could
people
recommend movies that they could watch with the cougar.
Absolutely. Like
Moonstruck.
Ghost. Huh?
Moonstruck, Ghost, yeah.
Moonstruck, one of my favorites. I mean, well, Cher, I love Cher. But yeah, Moonstruck, I mean, there's a lot of them.
Harold and Maude.
Of course, Harold and Maude is another great one. God, you're really old, Boris. But even, oh my God, even like just, oh God, I had the name of the movie and then I lost it, but just even like stupid movies like Private School or Private Lessons, remember? Like the teacher. I mean, there really are a lot of, really good ones. There was one called 5 to 7 with Anton Yelchin and I think it was Famke Janssen. So it's more modern, but it was literally like he's a young girl, she's a married woman. Like, there were some nice. Then there's also some that end badly, like The Affair. You gotta watch out for those. Fatal Attraction, not a good one to watch for her. You don't want to give her any ideas. But no, you're right. I mean, there are some, and there's just certain things that they should know, like how to use spell check if they can't spell. Like, I don't want to, if I'm going to talk to a young guy, I want to know that I'm talking to a guy who has something to say. Tell me about your job. Tell me what you do. Maybe you have an incredible job or, I don't know. Just to be like, hey, what's up? I really think you're cute. Want to get together? Like, no, that's not going to cut it. It's just not.
You don't want to show them Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, I used to watch it. Not on purpose, but I've dated people who did. And yeah, it's that's what it does remind me of. That's a perfect thing. Like, it's like Beavis just sending me an email. Like, what's up? And I'll be like, well, not much, but why'd you text me? I don't know. Or cause. Okay, black. I mean, it's I would think that part of the joy for young men actually getting the attention of an older woman is the actual getting her attention, to be able to say, oh my God, I did it. Like, oh my God, she's actually speaking to me. I may have a shot here. And a lot of them just can't even get that to that point. So, and it's not hard to get to that point.
Yeah, well, once this is lifted, you can take them on visits to nursing homes, and it's very easy to get attention. Like, pass me my food. can you help me to the bath? You know, those you get
Yeah,
you
can you
get
wipe my
start
ass? That kind
you
of thing.
start with
Yeah.
that. It's easier to get those kind of things going, and then you can
Plus,
go
it's
out.
they're easy to catch. They're usually with a walker, you know.
That's right. They're very easy to catch.
Absolutely. But well, I always used to think, you know, when we were younger, and guys would always say to me, "I like older women. I only like older women," and I'd be like, you know, one day you're not going to like them.
Now,
One
see,
day you will
what you
for
what you
women,
don't
you
understand
know?
is that they start
Huh?
with that. They start by saying that then, but the age never changes.
Right.
Yeah.
Except their age. Right. Exactly. It's like suddenly the older woman becomes the younger woman.
Yeah, it morphs into a same age and then younger.
Right. And then you have 70-year-olds chasing 40-year-olds and 40-year-old women going, "Oh, gross, I already had one of you."
Well,
You know,
yes.
like, yeah, no, I get it. And then only when everything shuts down do you go to, like, you know, the senior version of eHarmony and just find somebody who likes the same food you do. Right?
What would be eHarmony? Would that be like a eHeartbeat? Yeah. Like,
I don't know. They have one though. It's like silver something. I saw the ad the other night. This is what happens when you watch a lot of news channels now. You get to see a lot of old people ads. Like there's a lot of AARP going on TV now.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it is funny to me, like especially guys that I knew that only dated older women, and I see them now and they're still single, and I'm like, and how old is she now? He's like, oh, I've changed. I'm into younger women. Oh, you're into the same woman the same age. You're just old. You know, you just have to explain to that one who Van Halen is. You know, I had to explain that the other day.
Oh.
Do you know what that was like? And you don't realize how difficult it is to explain a band like Van Halen, who had great hits with two separate singers. That just really can, because then you have to instruct them. Well, when you Google Van Halen, make sure you Google 1984 Van Halen and not 1990. You have to change if you're. So in that respect, it's a little difficult.
so that's why you should charge more than $5. It's got to be exhausting.
Well, maybe for like future class, but for right now, I actually am just trying it. So and I think for $5 is like, I'll actually get a lot of people. I'm hoping I'll get a lot of people to be on, because I think you can even, like, I've taken classes now that I'm like, oh, it's only $5. If I don't learn anything, at least I got to speak to different people today.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
You know?
it's certainly, if that's what you're into, $5 is, I mean, nothing really.
No, it really isn't. It's less than Grubhub these days.
Well, just the delivery is probably $5. Your tip's $5, right?
I know. It's amazing. All the things that you took for granted. You know, like just even to go through a drive-through, to go, you know, to pick up. Oh, and don't even get me started about shopping for my groceries online, which I did totally fine for 5 years, and now I can't get a slot to go pick them up.
Yeah, I tried. It was so how ridiculous. Just screw it. I'll go to a store. I don't care.
Yeah, at this point, exactly. You just go to the store, because even if you get the appointment, it's for 3 weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's the one thing that I hope goes back to normal, because I hate going to the grocery store. I didn't like it before this.
Yeah, but now at least you get out of the house.
Delivery, huh?
At least you get out of the house.
Yeah, I got out of the house to go pick it up. I always did the pickup for the grocery because it was that much cheaper and at least got you out of the house. You just didn't have to navigate the aisles. You know what I don't like about shopping in ShopRite? Those stupid carts with the cars on them.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you don't like the cougars in the shop, right?
No, they don't bother me. I feel for them. But no, I'm just saying, like, I couldn't stand when all the people come through with those stupid carts, because they always knock into you. Nobody knows how to navigate them. They need to give you like a course when you use one. You know, like
that's worth $5.
Mother who would always be like, "No, it's broken. We can't use it." I always be like, "Nope, it's broken. They don't allow it here. It's just for show."
All right. So should we wrap it up?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With anything else you want to mention? Because before we wrap it up, the class,
Well, the class will be May 15th. You could check my website at mischiefmatters.com. You have to know how to spell. It'll be helpful. But you can also find me at Mistress Schari on Fetlife. So for people who go on Fetlife, you could find me there. And there's a Mischief Matters page on Facebook. I mean, really, thanks God for Bex, because Bex does all my social media. So there's a Twitter for me, there's an Instagram, and you could find all that on my website.
Nice, but thanks for sharing. I'm happy to be doing something, because we're wondering. Yeah. So what do you do in a business that's pretty hands-on, personal kind of stuff?
It's definitely hard. And I got news for you. I can't exactly claim unemployment.
Yeah.
Well,
so, I mean, what am I supposed to do? Like, oh, why can't you work? Well, there's no one for me to beat up today. I mean, that's not really an option. So
you should get a license as a professional fighter.
I should. Well, or just really, it should be a therapy.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's more
it should
likely.
Be a therapy. Because for a lot of people, it really is. You know, like, look, I feel bad for people who are recovering alcoholics or recovering during a time like this. When you know, because part of your recovery usually is you find something else to take its place. And very often that ends up being go to a dominatrix.
Yeah.
So I feel really bad for a lot of people who are in recovery and suddenly find that their go-to is not they can't rely on that right now. You know? And it's hard to do. I asked somebody about it, like, well, do they have meetings online? Well, because of privacy issues, it's very hard.
Yeah, I think they do. I heard something what people are doing to meet. Well, how private is it really? You get up in front of everyone. You get up in front of everyone, tell them your name and everything horrible you did for the last 10 years.
Exactly. Which is very often, I mean, we go to munches, like people who are into BDSM and things like that. Once a month, you meet your munch for your group. And they're the same people you meet, you know, once a month on the same night. And it's very comforting and you look forward to it. And God, when you can't go to them anymore, you're like, holy crap, you know, this sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I can't see my people. I can't tell so-and-so about this, you know, what happened the other day. They think it was so amazing, or they'd have great advice for me. You know, like you don't have that camaraderie. I think that's what I miss more. And it's not the same on, you know, these web stuff.
Yeah. No, it's not. No,
web stuff.
Yeah, well.
You know, although this part I am very excited about. You know, when people meet you and they're like, I'm a hugger, and you're like, oh, now I get to say no thanks, and nobody can say anything. Now I get to be like, sorry, you're not going to get a free cup of feel with this one. I'm not a hugger. I finally have some ground to stand on with that.
Yeah, well, you could always say that. I'm a germaphobe, I guess.
Yeah, but then people thought you were like, oh, she's cold. She's that. You know, now I can say it. Nobody will think anything of it. Now I can say it without an explanation. Yeah,
everyone's saying the same thing, so you blend in.
Yeah, no, I've given up hugging. Thank you. I'm in a hug support group now. Oh, that would be funny. A no-hug support group for people who were like avid huggers that can't hug anymore.
Start one. There's another $5 class.
There's another one.
You'd have to hug, though.
Huh?
No.
You have to do a virtual hug.
Yeah, virtual hug. Yeah.
Hug yourself. Love yourself.
Grab a pillow.
Yeah, I think that would just get me in trouble.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for talking to us again with us. And good luck with the class. I'll post that up. Hopefully you get some people signing up.
Yeah, try and get this up before May 15th, because that'll be very...
No, it'll be up in a week, I think. I'll put it up soon.
You have no excuse, Boris.
No, we're putting that once a week. We have a show, so.
I know, and they're on my website now, by the way.
Oh no, use it. Yeah, absolutely. I'll put it up. You can link it. Use it. I'll put this up too, and thank you. And
you have a logo. If you send me a logo, I'll include that too.
Yeah, I will. I'll email it to you.
Okay, cool.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, I'll be here.
All right.
Maybe we could do a check-in about how the class did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. I'll even shave for that one.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Manscaping.
Huh?
Manscaping.
Manscaping. Don't
That's
send
right.
me pictures though.
No pictures.
Okay.
I don't get that whole thing.
Yeah.
I just don't. But
You and me both.
whatever. All right. Talk
All
to you
right.
later. Take care.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
stay well, stay safe.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.